Wow, look at that. I have a green water bottle and it is totally, that is not how it looks in real life. Hey everyone, I think we're live right now. Hopefully we're live. Welcome to the very first ever AI help desk. And I need to log in here, so let's do that over on the screen. I saw a conference talk recently about how someone figured out how to read keyboard buttons based on the sound, so hopefully you're not doing that right now. Because I think you can hear typing. Oh, wrong password. Ah. Oh no, what am I doing here? This is the wrong, it's not letting me log in. Has anyone entered the chat yet? Let's see if we have any. I'm gonna go over here on this other screen. Sorry, I just read something on my phone that was very funny. Okay, while I get over here to log into this YouTube, that's great. I decided to start a little early today because I don't like staring down at the countdown. Okay, I'm gonna search for ReBoot Room over on YouTube. Find our channel. Hey, we're live. Hey, there's the button. Whoa, and I can see myself. Okay, we are definitely live. All right, that's a good thing. And by the way, close these things. This is the event you're watching right now. This is the event. I will show you some other stuff on our website when we get started here. Oh, I think I see someone over there. By the way, we're here at Mitchell Park at the ReBoot Room. If you haven't been here yet, if you haven't walked by, it's like second floor near the sci-fi mystery section. That's how I like to tell people where to find us. But we also have, a desk where you can ask, or you can, look at the map. It shows you where things are. But the ReBoot Room used to be a computer lab, and then we redesigned it a couple of years ago, so it's good. Some ongoing events here. Let me show you what I'm talking about. You go to our website here. Well, not that website. You go to this website, library.cityofpaloalto.org, and say visit the ReBoot Room. The ReBoot Room! Here, that's where we are right now. And you gotta scroll down. Oh, hey, that looks familiar. Oh, this looks interesting too, doesn't it? That's coming up. This is December 22nd. This is for middle schoolers. They'll also be hosted here in Mitchell Park. Sounds like a fun time. What else do we have here in this? Well, you gotta click view all and view more. You can also see more things over at this AI at PACL. That's Palo Alto City Library. Acronym. We love our acronyms here. And what else do we have here? eHelp, some other things. Oh, if you want to also host it here, the Vintage Media Lab. I'm still surprised that people don't know about this, but we had a 10-year anniversary event a couple weeks ago, and people are still finding out about it. It is very popular. You got to register, but you can see all the details here. This is an excellent book if you are just starting off in your vintage media. Oh, this is actually a list. Sorry, there was one book in here that in particular. This one, if you want to read that one, that's a good one. And I think we have it in ebook format also. But that's not what this stream is about. Today's stream is all about AI. So I was planning to spend like the first hour or so going over the news and some new things that I've just found. And then 5 o'clock, that's when we're going to do some demos. So I already have a few things that I know people are asking about, so we'll do those in a minute. But let's close this out. Let's go over here. The first thing on our list is this course from OpenAI and Common Sense Education, or I think the parent company is Common Sense Media. but they have a new, sort of like official. They have an official workshop classroom for teachers, and they include. I just logged in this morning to see what it was like. They have a fun document called their prompt library or something like that. What was it? A prompt repository, which, as we all know in the library science world, is kind of like a library or an archive, but they use a different word. That's probably to avoid the problem in software development where everything's called a library, but which is like a collection of like software tools, and it gets confusing when you start Googling stuff. Anyway, I still need to log in over here and get this so I can talk to you in chat. Why am I struggling with this? I mean, it's not like 32 characters or anything like that. No, it is a complicated password. And you should all update your passwords. Okay, here we go. There we go. See, I can say hello to you. Hello, world. I see you. I see you in chat, world. Okay, how about we just look through this prompt library, because prompt repository. And before we do that, how about I show you how I found this. It's like Common Sense Media, Open AI class, or a course. This was just announced like last Friday, I think? 6 days ago. Okay, I read about it last Friday, but then they had a newer thing. Yeah, here we go, November 20th. We have some news here from San Francisco, the city, and a Harry Potter advertisement that I'm going to click out of. Here we go. Schools across the country are grappling with new opportunities and challenges as AI reshapes education. With our research showing that 7 to 10 students are already using ChatGPT for their schoolwork. Controversial. By the way, this reminds me, if you go back over to our website, sorry, I'm going to keep like dashing in little spices of what we've done here at the library that you should know about. We actually hosted a conversation with Dr. Anthony Chow a year ago. I think it was February last year, but you can find it. And let me just go to that page again. You're gonna go here, just click on Explore AI at the library, or just go to /AI and find it here. And there it is. Recap of our conversation. This post was also written by AI, which is kind of interesting too. But yeah, there's the chat. There is. Where were we? I think if I hit play, this might work. Let's see what it does. Oh, okay, it's very loud in my headphones. This was over at the community center over here in Mitchell Park. It's like right next door to us. Anyway, let's go back to these prompting, the CRE prompt framework, which I thought was an interesting thing. We're inventing new words now to talk about AI, so OpenAI is using the CRE context role expectation sort of framework to help you become a prompt engineer. Although I'll show you an article in a second that talks about how you don't really need to be a prompt engineer to use these things. But yeah, it's just kind of like as a way to help you build your chats with ChatGPT. So the idea is that you need to give it some context. Like, I would say, I'm a librarian and I have this blog post to write. Your role is to help me come up with a shorter way to say this, and I'll copy paste in some draft 1 text. And I expect you to write it for a person who wants bullet points. Like that, there's a really simple example. You'll get different responses each time based on how much CRE you're using here. So, I jumped ahead. Okay, they actually talk about it in the PDF. You should just read the PDF, by the way. I've also invented my own words to explain AI, which I'll talk about later. Okay, so we got, prompt, rewrite this email, use a more concise and professional tone, context role, this is all good here. The course itself, let's see. I don't think do they link it to? Oh, they link to it here. Here, I'll drop us in chat too, because I'm sure you're also interested in some learnings. Commonsense.org. You do have to log in. You can use it like a Google account to get in quickly, but it's kind of it's an official source. There's also what we're talking about, what software companies have done. I know that Anthropic, what are they calling it? I think they might have just called it prompt engineering guide, something like that. They've got some stuff here too in their official docs. Before prompt engineering, here's an interesting set of guidelines here. A clear definition of the success criteria for your use case. Some ways to empirically test against those criteria, and a draft prompt you want to improve. Interestingly enough, I think this whole like prompt engineering, and I'm not the first person to say this, I know. Wow, this water bottle's still freaking me out. It's just scratching. I strongly believe in the future that we will not have to be as precise about the way that we word things in our chats. It seems that's kind of the direction that we're going in already, because I'll show you in a minute, like the new ChatGPT, the O1 preview thing. It does a lot of reformulating with your prompt already. And the same thing happened earlier this year with like DALL-E, when they released the GPT store version of DALL-E. I'm going to stop using that's a little bit too much movement there. DALL-E started doing this too, where it would, take what you're saying, but then also kind of like massage the text in a way so it's more compatible with how its parameters, we'll call it. Yeah, so you know what? I think I need to give you an example here too. So we actually have, and here's some other stuff I can talk about later too. We have a pro version of ChatGPT, and a little bit about myself here. I've been personally using this for about 2 years-ish. It was around, November 2022 that the beta, the GPT 3.5 first started. I did not keep track of the time, but I believe I passed that 1,000-hour mark using these things. Actually, my favorite book over here right now, favorite AI book here, Co-Intelligence by Ethan Mollick. His suggestion for you is that if you really want to learn these tools, you got to sit down for just 10 hours, just testing different things that you want to try. Different things that it might help you with, see what works, what doesn't work. I strongly believe in play is the best way to learn things. So yeah, it's good to take those courses online and understand how do large language models work, what's happening behind the scenes. I think that's still all good information, but at the end of the day, you need to actually apply it to some things. You're not going to get there by just studying. In the same way that I also didn't come up with this explanation either, but it's called mechanical sympathy, right? So the race car driver, the Formula F1 person or whatever who's driving really fast on track, they don't have to be a mechanic. They don't have to know how cars work, but the more that you understand that, you might gain an edge over other people. So that's kind of where I feel like, yeah, there's a lot of courses right now that talk about how, what is a vector database? How do large language model, LLMs, how do they learn? What is fine tuning? All these different things. As a non-software developer, maybe it might help you kind of see trends in the industry, but at the end of the day, again, you need to be able to do some prompting. You got to be able to write, some examples. So let me give you the first one that actually came in directly from a library user. This was a week ago. They left a voicemail and I called them back. They were asking about using these tools for creating cartoons, and I was curious what would happen let's also use the new preview thing here too. So for folks who don't have the paid version, when you pay for ChatGPT, and this is true for some other tools too, you have the option to select different models here. So the Owen preview is kind of interesting. Let me show you how that works. I would start that person's question about writing, making cartoons with just asking ChatGPT, like, how could you assist me with creating cartoons? Then this is for an online course specifically, they said. So I think the idea was like having some characters that kind of like illustrate a point that's in the thing. And now thinking, so that new O1 model, it kind of does some behind the scenes stuff. If you click over here, it gives you some metacognition almost about what it was, how it came about this answer. So what did it say? It said, gather info to support cartoon creation from courses, open it in compliance with the policies, yep, and scripts, suggestions, okay. We could help brainstorm ideas. You could write a script, character creation, storyboarding, visual suggestions, tool recommendations. That's kind of where I came in on the phone the other day. Feedback and editing. Integration strategies. I'm kind of curious about that one. Integration strategies. Oh, and this is, kind of... Hopefully you can read the text here. I just realized it's a little bit small, probably on your screen right now. Okay, let's see. Ooh, I need to move this other laptop around so you can see that screen. This is the first stream, by the way, so expect some things to... We got room for improvement. And my email's still not going out. Anyway, now the first thing that will happen when you try to create cartoons is you're going to quickly realize that it's difficult to come up with consistent characters. And let me just illustrate this point more directly. Let's do a new chat with, hold up, we gotta go over to our GPT store. And we're gonna search for doll. It was just there. There we go. Okay, let's get that going. Close that out. Okay, so I have an idea for a character I've talked about for a while here. It's the chrome owls in the Furniture Park. Whimsy and Wise are their names. And sometimes I like to start my prompting with just not giving too much context, just to see what happens, and then you gotta refine it like that. So let's just see what it says. Cartoon, chrome, owl. I think if I call it a robot, that'll help out a little bit. And it's going to, let me tell you, while it's thinking, it's going to come up with some variations. The more times I write this prompt, you're going to see that it is a different character each time, which is a problem if your cartoon character needs to be consistent. Like, people recognize Mickey Mouse, it's kind of iconic. So if your cartoons are shifting with each cell, it's not going to work so well. Ooh, we're going slow today. Normally it doesn't take this long, I feel like. Maybe the servers are... Oh, here we go. Oh, ha ha! Okay, see. Kind of similar, but if I said, like, take the one on the... on the left and make it read... Or, no, not reading a book, make it shelve some books in a library. Interesting prompt, right? I just gave it a little more context. Hopefully it knows that to reuse the character from the beginning. It should. Usually this works. But it's going to come up with a completely different looking robotic chrome owl. Oh! Would you like me to try again with a refined prompt? Sure. Oh, this is new. Yes, please. Don't worry if this doesn't work. I'm trying to show you that it doesn't work so I can show you the actual solution here. I'm getting caught on the headphones. Okay, do your thing, ChatGPT. Oh, okay. Well, this is intriguing also. But let's devil's in the details here. Let's look at these characters. They are owls that are robotic and Chrome-like. However, this fella's got like a Teletubby thing going on his chest there. So, people care about consistencies like that in their media. This would not work so well, right? Okay, I think I've clearly stated the problem here. You've seen what we're trying to avoid. The solution is a thing called ControlNet for stable diffusion. So, ooh, hey, we even got a little synthesis here of what we're talking about. ControlNet Stable Diffusion is a novel methodology for artificial intelligence image synthesis. It is a neural network model that provides unparalleled fine-grained control over the generated images. What they mean by that is that you can have a character that's the same character between like frame generations, essentially. However, this is over in GitHub land, and if you are new to this stuff, it's going to be a little bit difficult to get into this. But I did explain this over the phone to this person, like it's possible, there's things out there that do that. However, the best one is open source, and you do need some developer skills in order to like really make the most of it. There's probably some other, I haven't actually Googled this to see what else is going on, but stable, or what if we just said how to make consistent, oh, look at that, auto-generated there. Ah, haha, Midjourney does this too now. Okay. Tom's Guide has a little helper here. Oh, hey, that is the same character. Interesting. So, I started with Midjourney and, like, before testing out DALL-E stuff, and I do kind of prefer it feels a little more cinematic, some of the images that it can make. But basically, again, this is not for, like, the totally new to computer folks. Like, you're going to be in a Discord chat, you got to kind of figure out how to use it. I can tell you one other one that I know of that has come recommended, which is Leonardo AI. Here's another option to explore here. Similar idea as all the other ones. Like, you've got a limited number of like free image generations that you can do within an hour or a day, and then you're paying extra for more for that. Let me also give you one more thing to check out, which is if you're in the Mac OS environment, you can use Diffusion B, and maybe they have a Windows one now. I think they do. Well, they've got a Mac OS one. Last I recall, there was a Windows one like in development, but kind of the same idea is like as like the ControlNet setup or Stable Diffusion, but this was made more to be like I just like download one thing, and then you're able to add or subtract or train your own models here. If you have a bunch of sample images, you can go that route too. Control images. You could do some optical illusion stuff like that. It's kind of interesting. Can I zoom in on that? Not really. Yeah, there's a world to explore, and then if you want to pay a little bit more, you could look at the new Photoshop AI tools. This was what? I think within the last year they came up with content aware fill, neutral filters. These are all kind of baked into Photoshop now also. Which, by the way, I'm going to pitch another library resource. If you want to learn Photoshop, head on over to the library page, click A to Z. Oh, click A to Z. I was clicking on the wrong screen. And look at, I'm doing it again. I'm clicking on the wrong area. Look at LinkedIn Learning. I would probably go here, or you could check out O'Reilly. I gotta scroll up here. There we go. Go to O for O'Reilly. Oh, well, and you gotta log in with your library card. But I can say for sure this is getting tons and tons of new chat GPT, different AI, different textbooks and things. Oh, that was another pop-up on my phone. Sorry, I'm being distracted over here. Let me jump over to the next use case they're about. Or I shouldn't say use case, it's kind of, that's software developer speak. The earlier question before this one about making cartoons. Someone was asking me about using ChatGPT to write a newsletter. And this was a situation where they had a bunch of notes that were in like a Word doc, but it was not structured at all. It was not very newsletter-y. And that worked out pretty well. Now, the thing you want to keep in mind is that, well, as you're using tools like this for a situation like that, you probably want to make sure that whatever is in that newsletter is not confidential or is not like unsafe to be on the internet. So again, no like passwords, no. I would even say no usernames. Consider like contact info or things that might be in there. If it's not already publicly somewhere on the web, maybe you don't want to upload it to a chatbot. But let's go over here and let's make a new chat. Ooh, okay. So, and actually, this feature came out after this one. This question came maybe, but this Chat GPT 4.0 with Canvas is kind of made specifically for these. Like, I need to edit this down. Yeah. Okay. How? Oh. Here's what we can do. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to ask it to come up with some notes from a meeting. Not a real meeting, but let's just pretend like, can you generate some sample text for a public library meeting about live streaming? It should not be structured at all and kind of messy. Let's see what it does. Sure. Here's a messy, unstructured sample of text from a public library meeting about live streaming. Hey everyone, so yeah, just wanted to chat about the whole live streaming idea for the library events. This is perfect. Okay, so the notes that I were working with was kind of like this, where it was like a bunch of people. Okay. Also, throw in some upcoming dates and maybe a link to an imaginary YouTube channel for that library. And it's going to come up with even more text unstructured that will be messy and not really, like, this is not a newsletter. This is kind of like a transcript almost that it has. So, we're going to take this and we're going to open up a new chat with that Canvas model, and I'll show you how to edit things in there. Okay, and it said the /imaginary library channel. That's really funny. Okay. How's that? Good job. We're going to copy this. So I learned this trick, by the way, when I was showing some other folks here how to use ChatGPT with Excel to write formulas. And the thing with the library context is that we're, of course, working with private data, so we're not going to use our own data in ChatGPT, but you can have ChatGPT explain formulas to you with sample data that it just made up, like on the spot, like right now. And so the cool thing about that is that you can say, like, my data looks like this, or it's formatted like this with these headers, and how would I make an Excel formula with that? And then you can just directly use that formula back in your real data. Anyway, let's take this, so we're going to copy that, and I'm going to go here, I'm going to switch over to a new one. Oh, actually just, I think that works without even doing a new chat. You take this, you know, I'm going to, for posterity, we're going to save that one, we're going to start a new one with Canvas, and let's just pretend this is like real life, okay? So, I have some meeting notes that I'd like to turn into and I'm going to say email newsletter, because that will be a different response. Email newsletter. In the next chat, I'll paste the notes. I'm just kind of trying to get it ready. Okay, feel free to paste in the thing. Great. Let's turn these meeting notes into a compelling... Whoa! Hey now! I see some bullet points. I see some headings. Yeah, we've been considering live stream from events. Blah, blah, off the top. Craft night. Holiday story time. What would we like to know? Okay, this is looking better, right? Okay, but we can also go in here. Oh. So here's our prompt here. And there's a way we can suggest some edits, right? Like this part, okay. The people on my team already know this, make it shorter. And see, instead of like taking this and then me copy pasting it into a new chat, and then I gotta tell like, oh, this is here, like just do this part, or like I have it in a separate Word doc and then I'm copy pasting between that. You can just use like inline sort of editing like this with the sidebar thing. It's a clever solution to that problem. Let me also say another trick that I've learned recently is use that copy button in any of the chats that you have. Recently, Word and like a bunch of the other Microsoft apps switched the thing where it will keep the formatting, or it will not keep the formatting that you paste into the new thing, the new like Word doc or whatever you're working with, which can break some stuff. I think if we do this way, it also includes the markdown, which is a little bit less. Let's see. Oh, it didn't do that. If you ever run into a situation where you've got markdown that from whatever you've copied from your ChatGPT or whatever tool you're using, just know that there are lots of markdown to Word converters, and I'm sure this will be solved later by some other tool too, but I have had to use these every once in a while. Maybe I wouldn't use this site. Well, this is probably all happening on the browser side, but yeah, it is possible. There's other scripting tools and things that can do that too, but if you ever get stuck in that. So I think we can say for sure the newsletter idea does work pretty well. We got plenty of time, so how about I show you some of the other things that we've built here at the library. We do have some chatbots that are not public yet, but to give you an idea of what's possible, let me show you the whole ChatGPT builder thing. And by the way, I'm not usually this pink. I did go for a hike over the weekend and got a little bit of sunburn, so forgive me. Although I do blend into the background a little better than I expected, so. Okay, let's go back over to sidebar. So, what's a good one to talk about? Oh, this one's interesting. Here, let me show you what we... Okay, you gotta go over, explore your GPTs, my GPTs. We've got some listed here. What did we do with this one? I I think this was set up using, aha, yes, there we go. I remember now. So over in our SharePoint, we had all of the manuals for all of the different scanners that we have in the lab over here at the ReBoot Room. And you can very simply upload those PDFs as a knowledge base, and then it will sort of refer to those. Although this doesn't always work as well as you hope, because unfortunately, the way that things are formatted or worded in these manuals is not necessarily set up in a way for a chatbot to understand. You will see some better responses though, just by having that there. Like the idea with this knowledge base is that it's going to that first before it searches the web or does other things. You can also disable those options over here in your chatbot. But this was an interesting one. And the creating one is, this has update to Pandan. It's updated right now. So just out of curiosity, let's see what it says here. In the editor, you've got a split screen with a chat over here where you can tell it how to update its own internal instructions, and then you've got the preview on that side there. So. And I just saw an error message, so I'm not sure if that's going to work. What's something that comes up fairly often in the Vintage Meat Lab? Maybe something about like, I seriously wonder if it will get this one right. It's sort of like a trick question. How long does it take to digitize a VHS tape? We are experimenting in real time right now. I don't know if it's actually going to get this right. It should come back and say like, well, it sort of happens in real time. Okay, it did. It happens in real time. It's 2 hours long. This might actually be from, I think one of these is our actual website. Okay. Because I've made this chatbot, I know exactly where it came up with that response. That's probably from this handout here. So over on our website, let me show you what I'm talking about. We have a page. ReBoot Room. So we have a handout that at events it's printed, we hand it out, but some of those questions are also copied here. See, so it got that. Let's contrast that with the non-trained version here. So that was interesting what it did. Let's go back over, make a new chat. What will it do? I don't know. Search is unavailable. Oh, that's because we're in the, I'm using the desktop version of ChatGPT, and it will not let me do that. Okay, a little bit longer of a reply here. What did it say? You know what I should do? Let's listen to this. Hold on. I need to, I think, I gotta add an audio source so you can hear it. Audio. Okay, audio input capture. We're gonna do. Hopefully this does not make the. Okay, no, I think that was bad. I just doubled the audio. Okay, how are we gonna hear this? I have an idea. I promise for next time we'll get the audio stuff working. I just got my phone and we're gonna do a little like that. Okay, so let's get the volume. Hey, how long does it take to digitize a VHS tape?
VHS tape usually takes about the length of the tape's playback time. So if you have a 2-hour VHS, it will take roughly 2 hours to digitize. This is because the process involves playing the tape in real time while it's being recorded by your computer or a digital converter. Some setups might have features to speed up the process, but generally, it matches the tape's duration.
Tell me about these special setups that speed up VHS, because I've never heard of that.
Sure, let me clarify. Most consumer-grade VHS to digital setups work in real time, meaning they digitize at the same speed as the playback. However, some professional services and high-end equipment might offer faster than real-time conversion, using advanced technology to speed up the process. These are less common and typically used by businesses that need to convert large volumes of tapes quickly, like media archives or video production.
Okay. You get the idea. The cool thing about the advanced audio mode is that it is like a conversation, so you can interrupt it. You can say like, "Can you say that again?" Or like, "Oh no, that's not right." Or it is better than typing in some ways. But of course, you can't copy paste your voice. So if you've got something like that newsletter example that I showed a minute ago, yeah, you're going to need to be in chat. You're going to have to either upload the document that you're working with, or highlight, copy, paste into the chat interface there. Okay. The other thing I'm noticing is that this, maybe because I'm in this canvas mode, let's just to demonstrate here. Let's go back to maybe just the normal 4.0 model. Let's see when it does that. I feel like maybe the canvas mode was primed for a longer response. No? Nope, it's not going for a conciseness. This is kind of making the custom GPT thing a little more appealing, right? Because it's a lot to read. When I think most people, when they ask that question, they just need to know that it's going to take 6 hours if they've got 6 tapes here with an hour on each. Okay, I got on a tangent here because we were looking at the custom chatbots we've made. Let's look at a few other ones. And again, most of these are not production ready. They're just experiments. This is library science at its core. The Vintage Media Lab bot, we did this one at a staff event a couple months ago. Oh wait, sorry, not that. We just looked at I meant that Palo at the Time Traveler one. This was funny. This was not my idea. This was from the staff who were there. Very simple. We just gave it a prompt about you're a history bot and you know everything about Palo Alto. So that kind of gave it some interesting things. And then what else did we do? We let it generate images too, so it was different. What does it know about Mitchell Park itself? Right, and as we're watching it regurgitate some text that it absorbed from the internet, other places. Let me just say, this is not usually the best use for AI tools like this. I think a lot of people get confused because it's things made by the Googles and the Bings of the world, and they're baked into our search tools. But this lacks something very important, which are citations. In order to get that, you really need a different, a specialized search GPT, we'll call it. That's what OpenAI called it. My favorite one right now, my favorite one at the moment is Perplexity AI. And so with this one, will it let me do just a sample? Oh, it will. Okay. With this one, if we say, tell me about the, oh wait, what did I say in the other one? Let's go back over here. Tell me about Mitchell Park Library. Whoop. Tell me about yourself. Interview question. That's not what I was asking. That's an autocomplete. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Go back. Back, I say back. Tell me about Mitchell Park Library. See? See how this is better? We've got some sources here. We've got, the paragraphs lead to the snippet where it came up with these things. And oh, hey, look at this. This article is from 2015. Huh. These are renderings too, so it's even more funny to me because this is not. It's very idyllic sunset over this image here. Anyway, I just want to show this because I think a lot of people they're still caught up in this like, oh, the chatbots hallucinate thing, which is true, but that problem is entirely based on how you're using the tool. And if you use the right tool, like a search-based chatbot that can give you citations, you at least got something to go on. There's another one too that I should show you. Oh, what was it called? This was I'm gonna have to search for it. There's a new it was like a Stanford wiki chatbot. I even spelled it wrong. It's not wiki chat. Oh wait, is this the one? I'll recognize it as soon as I have it logged in. No, not that. Not Perry, not Oval. Oh, I'm gonna have to find this because it is kind of a. At least, let me at least just find the article that talks about it. I'm searching on a different. Oh, it keeps finding the same one. Okay, I know I have it in my. Oh! Julie's saying that can hear, but it's not loud. Oh, was that the? Hopefully you mean the. This one, when I had my phone on here, because I can definitely adjust the audio, or maybe need to get a little closer here. We can adjust. Where is it? Okay, might be speakers. I don't want to boost the gain too much. Okay, that's up all the way. Maybe. Oh, I see the problem here. Let's go like that. Ooh. We got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Okay, I see what I did. We're picking up audio from the Sony camera because I had to plug that in instead of the actual microphone. Alright, let's fix that right away. Aha. Now this should be better. I think. Audio input capture. Let's make sure that this is. Okay, I can be very sure that that's the right one because I just used the mixer to fix it. Thank you. Yay! Okay. So, again, this is why it's a 2-hour stream, because I know for a fact that it takes any stream like this. You need like a little bit of time to work out the startup problems. Interestingly, the webcam that was working last week today decided to not work, so I had to, jump over to a different thing. Okay, I know over in my Teams chat, I have this Stanford chatbot experiment. Oh, I can't search. I forgot that searching's not working today too. Oh, we got a lot of problems with the web is not behaving at the moment. Huh. Well, okay, let's go back to I bet Perplexity can probably find it if I do this. Yeah, we can lose that answer. Okay, this was a it was I'm looking for a chat bot. Whoop. Oh, hey, you can see my screen there. A chatbot experiment from Stanford researchers that could write Wikipedia style articles. Maybe it'll find. It's gonna log me out. Oh, here. Oh, wait. Okay, it still did something. Quizbot, Atlas chatbot. No, it's not those. This is gonna bug me until I find it next week. No. I know I have it. It's gotta be in my bookmarks. Da-da-da. I found it. Okay. It is over at storm.genie.stanford.edu. Oh, I just totally typed that wrong. Wow. Storm.stanford. Storm.genie. Genie.stanford.edu. Let's see if that. Aha. Okay. I imagine many of you watching this have not tried this one out yet. But this is a little bit like, I hesitate to show it because this is like the robot's doing your homework. So let me just say, follow all of the course policies that you have and your school agreements. But this is kind of scary good. I think it's going to ask me to log in, which is unfortunate. Maybe I can. Okay, let me hold on. Let me, because I did create an account. Log myself in. Do-do-do. Okay. Yeah, so this is a research preview. It has limited safety measures, may generate offensive content. This is you will make mistakes. When I read these things, I think, okay, whatever I type in here is probably going to be reviewed by a human who's like looking at these and saying good chat, bad chat. Basically, when you use these tools, just imagine it being like in the newspaper, wherever, because you don't know how they're going to report or like re-ingest this text. So yeah, do not include any personal identifiable information in your inputs. So a good example of that would be like, don't say, hey, I have this homework assignment for this online course and I need to write this thing and here's all the things. Anyway, they have a description of the paper that's based on this. If you prefer to not have your data collected or shared, there is an open source version of this that you can run yourself. We are participating in a study right now. Again, the use of this is going to be very boring, so don't get too yeah. Okay, what was our question before? It was something like we were going to take. Oh, just tell me about Mitchell Park Library. Let's do that over in this one. The purpose of for a website description. Wait. I forgot how to do this. This is for. They could work on their UI a little bit. That's kind of like. I feel like I probably should have known right away that I got to fill in both boxes. But anyway, that's why it's a research preview. And so, see, it's searching the internet, doing some stuff here. But we're going to get, like, table of contents, all that, you know, there. That's quite a few things to browse, isn't it? Oh, we got, well, it's grabbing some things that are maybe not so relevant. Like, it's got some articles, some other things. We're really synthesizing our data right now. And whenever I see the name Storm, I just think of the character in the X-Men, but that's a different story. Okay, this may take 3 minutes. Okay, this was not like this before. This is really, they've done some updates. I can tell. Do you get it though? Storming process. Okay, for folks in chat, let me also, I think if I paste this, you can go directly to and see. Like so. Okay. Now, I feel I am an expert in this field, so I should be able to read this article and tell you which parts I got wrong. What is it? It's yes. Comprehensive Citywide Library Facilities Master Plan initiated in the mid-2000s. People might read that and be like, why did it take that many years? There's a story that goes along with that. Yes, it did start in the mid-2000s. Oh, okay. Talks about that too in the next sentence. Let's look at these links here. Oh, hey. Again, though, the citations are included, so this is not the same, you know, we're not in Kansas anymore. The hallucination problem with these chatbots is kind of not, that's not the emphasis right now. And, you know, again, this is part of the reason why I wanted to do this stream specifically is like, I think there's a lot of people who had maybe tried ChatGPT, like early versions of this, like a year or two ago, especially in the library world, and they tested it out and it didn't do, or it wasn't good enough. And I was like, oh, this is never going to work. It's working. It does work quite well. Those problems are being worked on actively at the moment. And it kind of reminds me of a conversation I had actually in this room, in the ReBoot Room, like a month or two ago with a library user. And they were talking about how, like, this was an older person, by the way. They were like, you know, I remember when the internet first started and, like, I never thought it would work. And they were like, they were convinced at that time that it was never gonna, like, how could it work? I mean, if you think about it too, at the early stage of the internet, it was kind of hard to believe that everyone's gonna start using a computer. Like, were we really thinking about cell phones at that time, like handheld things? Maybe not. But obviously, yeah, a lot of people have bought into this idea. Anyway, going back to our article here, expertly written by our AI Copilot, it seems to be doing a pretty good job with this. I want to make sure that this is not also. There's no existing. Oh, this is funny too. Okay, grab some stuff about it, our website in here. Oh, wait a second. I didn't know that this was written about us. Huh. Cool. Yeah, it like actually surfaced some content here that we. Yeah, and I'm surprised by this too because I have a Google search alert for all the library names, so this one snuck past that. Anyway, yeah, wow, okay, so fairly decent job here. You can imagine if it was something that you needed like a synopsis for, maybe some web content, like that would be helpful. Um, we could take some of this text here. Actually, this is always sort of fun to do. So let me go back. I'm just going to take this summary. Let's do an image based on this. So this is kind of like my. This is a. Oh, where do we gotta go here? Let's do Dolly. Actually, I don't think I need to do this. I think we can just say. Let's just make a new chat. Draw an image based on this. Okay, sometimes I think it's fun to give it like too much information and see what it can do with that. So if it can make an image based on this, then it'll be an epic sort of image. Because we've basically overloaded it with, it's like TMI for the chatbot, and now we're, yeah. Let's just see what it does. Oh, and I also wanted to see, is there, I don't think there's an existing Wikipedia article about Mitchell Park Library. Like, this is what you have to be careful about, is like, oh, look how great the chatbot was, but did it actually just use, like, is this the same information that would have been in a search if I had gotten to the first search result? Probably not with this one, because I don't think we have. No one has done that yet. Okay, let's go back. This is wow. Wow, actually oddly similar to kind of the way our building looks. Especially, do you see this part here? We have a feature like that. And it's also, well, we don't have whatever this, what is that? Is that a water fountain with desks in the middle? But this is very similar to the outdoor sort of play area that's attached to the children's section downstairs. But, it also highlights some problems here. So right now, Dolly does not do a very good job with text up there. It got the lead platinum part, but it kind of, like, it's a start, but I give it a little bit too much information, and I think that just kind of overloaded it. Huh. Okay. I really want to go back and see. Oh, I'm in the wrong mode too. Didn't mean to be in this editor like that. But how could it have inferred the glass, all the glass and like this stuff? What was in that original prompt here? Oh, where is it? It's over here. Okay, we used all of this intro text here. Oh, wait, okay. This does. Where did this come from? I need to verify that. The building design resembles a Venn diagram. Is that so? This is news to me, but I'm curious now because maybe that was enough to get. Do you see this here? Like this is kind of. Okay, where did Venn diagram come from? Huh. Okay. Well, there were some visual cues that was in this text that probably led to some of the similarities. Okay, and how many sources does this have? Oh, I wish there was a way to see all of the links that it came from. I mean, I want to point this out because you just saw it in real time. I typed this in. The longest part was getting logged into the site, me actually finding the link to it. But you can imagine, the time comparison of you, the human, going to these 20 different websites, writing down all your notes about all these things, and then coming up with a sort of overview page like this. That would have taken at least a half hour, I think. And even having been here for, like 8 years now, I would not have written a quality article like this. It's incredible what we can do now. And, we could take this and, like, modify it even more. So here's another fun way to... And I've mentioned this many times before. Excellent at... where to go? If you've got something that you wanted to, like, take text and compress it or expand on that idea, let's go over to a new chat here. And let's say, convert this into bullet points. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot to work with. That was like 3 or 4 or 5 pages. Now, this is what saves time. Being able to take unstructured data or text or a description of something, quickly converting it into another thing. I also have found a lot of success with doing things like, oh, well, it's still thinking now. Okay, convert this into a table with headings that you think make sense. Because it might come back and say like, oh, what should the things be? Also helpful. Okay, and then you can go in here and say, okay, now add a new column with an illustration of this point. And now you've almost like, you're like halfway to, 1 hour PowerPoint made with these things. Let's see if there's any questions from the audience. So we've been chatting here for about an hour. And I did want to leave some time for like live Q&A. Let's like, please quiz me. What would you like to see tested in we have a pro account. I can also, recommend other tools. I do have some other articles we can read. but I want to just give a second for everyone to, I mean, I'm not going to play like the Jeopardy music, but, you know, let's put on our thinking caps here. What would you like to learn or test out or see done? We also have this other, and look at this beautiful table with headers and bullet points. We also have this other prompt library. We can look at some other samples from there. Again, this was made for teachers specifically, but some other things here too. Oh. Okay, while you're thinking, let me pull up that article I was going to show you, which was like, oh, what did I call it? Okay, we found that one already. Okay, he titled it Getting Started with AI, Good Enough Prompting. This is over in the One Useful Thing Substack. That's the one by this author, which I should probably, let me link to that in chat too. If there's one book you read about AI, or I should say one book you read about how to use AI on the job or for different tasks, this is a good one. Yeah, look at that. We got a few people who are also interested in this. Get in the hold line. But I personally recommend this one because it was like, as I'm reading it, this was after like 2 years of doing things with AI myself. I'm flipping the pages and I'm like, yep, he's got point. You know, I'm like, oh, and just to give you a preview, there's a section that's like, yeah, the 4 rules of co-intelligence, which I kind of borrowed for a talk I did recently with Bibliocommons. Okay, his principles here. Always invite AI to the table, which is like you should try to use AI for everything if you can. If it's legal and there are no ethical barriers, just give it a shot. And number 2, be the human in the loop, which is the idea that you need to make sure that these, you know, the way that you're using these chats is in a way that you can actually make sure that it's telling the truth. I like to call that you need a 2-book minimum for these things, so don't start jumping into chats about concepts or new ideas you have no basis in reality for. Make sure you've read at least 2 books to get you familiar with the subject so that you can, you know, kind of have a more productive conversation with the chatbot. Principle number 3, treat AI like a person, but tell it what kind of person it is. And that is, I think, another way. He says, like, you know, anthropomorphism and like that idea of like, yeah, we probably shouldn't consider AI as a person because it isn't. It's a virtual sort of intelligence, we'll say. But I do find it helpful if you talk to it as if it is a like an assistant or something like that. Like you want to make sure that it, like, just understand things that it won't know, and you got to give it that extra info. And actually, he talks about that a little bit in this article too. But okay, so that was principle 3, treat it like a person, and principle 4 is assume. And by far, this is the best principle in the book. Assume this is the worst AI that you will ever use. And that cannot be said enough, because it is getting better. And yeah, I do not underestimate the powers of the AI. That sounds really silly. I'm sorry. Let's read this article. Welcome to the spoken word section of the chat, or sort of the live stream, because I haven't got any questions here yet from the chat box. That's okay. We're gonna do Chris's story time, which is based on Ethan Mollick's latest Substack blog post. Getting started with AI. Good enough prompting. Okay, so while reading a new paper on doctors using GPT-4 to diagnose disease, I saw a familiar problem with AI. The paper confirmed what many other similar studies have found. Frontier language models, large language models, are surprisingly good at diagnosis, even though they are not specifically built for medicine. You'd expect this AI capability to help doctors be more accurate, yet doctors using AI perform no better than those working without it. And both groups did worse than ChatGPT alone. Why didn't the doctors benefit from the AI help? Well, I think we can come up with some reasons right away, but let's see what he says. Okay, one reason is algorithmic aversion. We don't like taking instructions from machines when they conflict with our judgment. They cause doctors to overrule the AI even when it was accurate. But a second reason for this problem is very specific to working with large language models. To people who aren't using them, AI systems are surprisingly hard to get a handle on, resulting in a failure to benefit from their advice. So it's basically like the professionals don't know enough about like how to use it, or they underestimate its accuracy and they're like, that can't be right. Silly computer, you don't know. I've been doing this for 30 years now. I got this handled. That's the essence of the problem. Okay. And we got a little, we got some data to back it up. Thank you there, participants. Okay. As the New York Times article on the paper reported, they were treating the AI like a search engine for direct questions, or for directed questions. Is cirrhosis a risk factor for cancer? What are the possible diagnoses for eye pain? It was only a fraction of the doctors who realized they could literally copy-paste the entire case history into the chatbot and just ask it to give a comprehensive answer to the entire question. This is not just an issue for doctors. In every classroom I teach, or in an organization I speak with, the vast majority of people have tried AI but are often struggling with how to initially use it. And as a result of that struggle, they have not put in the 10 hours or so with AI that are required to really understand what it does. Mentioned that early in this stream too. I believe this is very true. You have to actually sit down and do some experiments of yourself. The easiest way to do this, by the way, is you open up two browser windows, left side, right side, and you do one prompt, and you see the response, and then you try that same prompt in a new chat. Refresh, and just look at the results side by side. You can set up your own AI lab anywhere. Okay, off my soapbox. One common answer to these sorts of problems is that everyone should learn prompt engineering, the complex science, parentheses, well, more of an art, and parentheses, of getting an AI to work in the way you expect. There are a few problems with starting this way for most people, however. First, the idea of a complex structure for prompting can be daunting and constraining. Ain't that true? First, this is especially true because you do not need to be an expert in AI or even know anything about programming or computers to be an expert in using AI. Again, this is kind of what I was getting at earlier when my microphone was messed up, which is like the idea of that mechanical sympathy where the race car driver doesn't have to be a mechanic, but if they know how tires work, they might be a little bit faster on the track. It's the same idea you can apply to a bunch of different stuff in the world, but yeah, just understanding the underlying mechanisms that are involved might help you out. Okay, anyway, where did I leave off? Oh, suggesting that complex upskilling is the place to start will discourage people from using AI. Second, prompt engineering applies that there's an actual clear science. My head's getting in the way. Where do we go? A clear science of getting AI to act in the way you want, when in fact researchers are still arguing over the most basic foundation of good prompting. This is because AIs are inconsistent and weird, and often different results have different results across different models, which I already showed you a minute ago. You can test this yourself in just the plain old commercial version of ChatGPT Pro. You can do the same chat, different models, get different responses. You can also, by the way, and this seems to be happening more and more frequently, they'll do updates behind the scenes, and then you'll do that same chat like a week later, and it'll be maybe worse, sometimes better. A lot of times people online complain that it, like, oh, they made this model dumber all of a sudden. Like, it won't do my programming things that it was doing before. We don't have any control over that because it's all, being sent to a third party. This is why you need your local LLMs that you run locally on your own hardware so you don't have that issue. Okay, again, back to the article. Okay, for example, they're sensitive to small changes in spacing or formatting. They get more accurate when you tell them to read the question again. They seem to respond better to politeness, but don't overdo it. And they may get lazier in December, perhaps because they've picked up on the concept of winter break. And isn't that fascinating? I'm not going to click through to all of these, but if you're curious, this one in particular is very interesting, where they hypothesize that maybe the AI knows that people don't want to do as much work in December, and it's like behaving the same way. I don't think that's actually true, but it is sort of an interesting pattern to pick up. Okay. Add to all of this the fact that getting results, good results out of AI without a lot of formal training is likely growing easier as large language models are less sensitive to change and prompting techniques than older AIs. The new techniques allow the AI to improve your prompt for you, which we can already see right now with things like DALL-E, where it will kind of give you some helper text along the way. Be like, do you want to like that? Or, I can't do an image based on this artist, but if you want to describe what their art looks like, maybe I can get a little bit closer that way. Those sort of meta sort of chat things happening. Okay, so you can learn details of prompt engineering and the basics of how LLMs work, of course, but for most people that is not a required starting place. You just need to use AI enough to feel good, to get a feel for what you can use it for in your area of expertise. That was a funny slip there. The most important thing to do is to get 10 or so hours of use with an advanced AI system, and to do that you need to just be a good enough prompter to overcome the barriers that seem to be holding back many AI users. There are really two pathways to get started: good enough prompting for tasks and good enough prompting for thought. And now we're venturing into the part of the article that Chris has not read, so we're gonna learn as we go here. I hope people enjoy this spoken word version of the. You can listen to it on your podcast streams. I do need water though, because I'm still human. Okay, good enough task prompting. One of the most useful ways to use AI is to help get things done. In my book, I talk about bringing AI to the table, trying it out for all the work tasks, and seeing how well it does. I still think this is the best or the right way to start. Often you're told to do things by treating them like an intern. In retrospect, however, I think this particular analogy ends up making people use AI in a very constrained way. To put it bluntly, any recent frontier model, by which I mean Claude 3.5, ChatGPT 4o, Grok 2, Llama 3.1, or Gemini Pro 1.5, and let me just break this down by a company for you quickly. So Claude, that's Anthropic. ChatGPT 4, that's OpenAI. Grok 2, that's the one that is on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. Llama 3.1, that's the one that Meta made. And then Gemini Pro, that's the Google one. Okay. It's likely better than any intern you would hire, but also weirder. And there's that word again that he keeps using. Instead, let me propose a new analogy. Treat AI like an infinitely patient new coworker who forgets everything you tell them with each new conversation, one that comes highly recommended, but whose abilities are not that clear. And I mean literally, treat AI just like an infinitely patient new coworker who forgets everything you tell them with each new conversation. Okay, a few months ago, I came up with my own version of this. I call it, you gotta wake up the sleepy genius. So, in that metaphor, I think works really well because the sleepy genius does not remember the last conversation you had. And oftentimes I find I get the best results by reminding the chatbot, this, like, you already know about these things, or like pretend that you're an expert in this area already. So you just kind of prompt it to get it into that right mind frame. The other way I've heard this is, what's it called? They said like, It's like latent space activation. Yeah, that's not the right one. It's the idea that like in order to get the best result, you need to like have it sort of reason with two ideas and then like explore the unexplored connections between those two ideas, and that's how you get it to generate new and novel sort of information. Oh, that was deep. Okay. Okay, let's keep going here. As it is a coworker, you want to work with it, not just give it orders, and you also want to learn what is good or bad at. Start by using it in areas of your expertise, 2 book minimum, where you're able to quickly figure out the shape of the jagged frontiers of its ability. Because you're an expert, you will be able to quickly assess where the AI is wrong or right. You need to be prepared for it to give you plausible but wrong answers, but don't let the risk of these hallucinations scare you off initially. Though hallucinations may be inevitable, you will learn where they are. You will learn where they are a big deal and where they are not over time. Very true. So let me give you like a real world example of this. The hallucination with math, very bad. You do not want it to be doing your Excel formulas. However, you could have it write a very like super complicated Excel formula that will do that math for you, and you'll know right away if it's wrong or right because you can, calculate it a different way and just see, is this the right answer? Use it with things that were like Ethan says, like you got some expertise in that area, so you can trust the results a little better than me asking it about I don't know, what's something I'm not good at. Youth librarianship. I would not be the best person to ask about that. Okay, moving on. Because you are an expert, you believe Chris. Oh, I already said that. Yeah, you need to be prepared. I already said that part too. Sorry. Again, this is Chris's very first story time on live stream. Okay. You know what? How long have I been reading? We're at like the half-hour mark. So let me just jump ahead to some other interesting things here. Oh yeah, because we're like halfway through this thing. This would take a long time. Be very clear about exactly what I want. This is a good one. Giving examples, good or bad responses. You can do this within your own chats. So this is kind of, what do they call it? Like in context prompting, where it's like you got to start it off and be like, okay, here's an article that I wrote before, or actually I did this the other day, very recently. Here's 3 blog posts that I've already done, and copy the format of these blog posts with a new post based on this information. Worked pretty well. I can give you an example of it over on our website, although maybe I won't because I want to stay in this article. But yeah, feed it examples of this is what the end product, what I'm trying to go for. Copy the tone, copy the style, and it's very good at imitating other things too. So, including your own writing. Yeah, it is a dialogue, not an order. Okay, and we already talked about this today, like providing context. That's kind of like this prompt framework thing that they were saying before. Okay. Remember to pay attention to the AI's memory and context window. Now, what do they mean by that? Users of earlier versions of ChatGPT, there's a thing called there's like a token limit. You can think of tokens as being like the units of meaning within the chat. And so I like to visualize it as like it's like the fuel tank is getting lower, or like the battery is getting lower. So as the chat goes on past like say like the 50% mark, it'll start to come up with more strange responses because it's like running out of steam. So you have to be aware of this there's a limit to what you can achieve in one like sort of chat conversations. That's why before I was doing things like copy and pasting from one into another one. Sometimes you'll get better results if you kind of just like start it over with a new conversation, like give it fresh. Yeah, it's a problem right now, but in the future, I do not think it'll be as much of a problem. Okay, good enough prompting. Oh, okay, we were actually, this looked longer than it was because there were some other articles in the bottom here. You know, that what I just talked about reminded me of, for the librarians in the audience today, we wrote a Beyond the Hype. Okay, myself and former colleague Ryan Hess last year wrote this article. And I think we can go back to the appendix 1 here and see some of the same things that are mentioned in this book, which is like drafting anything. Just try it. See what works or doesn't work. Data manipulation. Use it as a cleanup tool and a summary of large data sets. Yeah. So the difficult part with this one is, and do we mention it later in here? It's like you need to have high quality data, but you also need to start keeping track of like where did this data come from, like that kind of, the whole like provenance thing becomes more necessary, because you might get to the end of the chat and then realize like you got to backtrack, like where did this artifact come from in the data set. Yeah, just make sure you're handling your data well. Use it as a learning tool. Very true. I've actually just started doing this myself with intentionally using ChatGPT as a learning assistant. So getting into Python programming, and I want it to explain things to me differently. Like if I reach anything in the textbook, be like, give me a different metaphor for that. And it's very effective that way. You can have it just do an entire textbook based on whatever, Star Wars or some other thing, and it'll very happily within copyright give you a response that works with that. That's it. Okay, and let's see. You've got, yes, very good for debugging too. Although you may find out that you can debug things, but then you do not have, like, if it's a product you don't control, you can't fix it. So maybe you figured out where the bug is, but you can't really do anything. Okay, and then at the reference desk, a quick first pass for consulting. Yeah, in areas that you're less familiar with. Yeah, and you know, this, I think, with the newer tools right now, this maybe needs a little bit of a revision, because there are some chatbots now that are specially designed for this, where it will give you, it'll make sure that it's only giving valid citations. And I think, you know, in the future too, when we move into more of the multi-agent AI stuff, which was kind of like hinted by Microsoft like a week ago, it's going to be easier for anyone to design these things on our own too. Like you have one bot that's specialized in generating the MARC record, we'll say. That's for the librarians again. MARC is sort of the unit of measure for library catalogs. One bot that makes it, another bot that validates it, and another bot that takes that corrections and sends it back to the first bot to rewrite it again. So we're going to have more tools that are kind of like specialized for like specific sort of environments or taking specific data, and it's going to hand it over to the next bot. And maybe prompt engineering will go away, but we'll be more focused on like sort of the automation or like connections between things, which actually reminds me of another thing I want to share. We're done with this article, right? But I can, here, let me paste it in chat if you want to. Not this one, but the other one. The, where did it go? This one, let me share this over here. It was adjustments. Whoa. Okay, I just had a Acrobat decided to do a pop-up just now. Scared me. Okay, where did I put that? Oh, where did this go? No, it's not that one. It's not that one. Okay, I'm just going to describe this. Maybe I could find it later. Okay, so Jessamine West is kind of like a famous internet librarian. Did a lot of behind the scenes work with Metafilter and that website. It's kind of like an early, like, what would you call that? Kind of like the earliest example of like a Q&A Reddit style website. Metafilter is interesting. Anyway, she was writing about how, tech help and like library sort of tech questions have shifted recently, where she's seeing more things where it's like, how do I connect this thing to this other thing? Like, people know how to use their phone, but now they're struggling with like, how do I get this picture out of my phone over to this other network or app, or like the interconnections between these different silos that are there. Interesting to me because that's kind of the same way that, like, I think eventually all these chatbots are going to work, where it's more they do their individual thing, but you've got a network of them that can do much more. And that was actually hinted recently by, who was it? I think Anthropic just today was saying something about like new it was like a new protocol for, yeah, here we go, the Model Context Protocol. I saw this, it showed up on my like news feed thing on my phone, so this is the next frontier, this MCP, which at first glance, and I haven't had a chance because literally this was today, right? Yeah. This was 8:30 a.m. Pacific time. So fresh off the presses here, but let's see. Oh, hey, we got a little demo we can watch. You're probably not going to have sound, but let's see what it does. I mean, it kind of sounds like they're developing an API specifically for chatbots to do some, like, we had a little pop-up there saying like, hey, you want to import this code from GitHub? Okay. Allow this thing to... Uh-oh, error message. By the way, you see how this kind of looks like that composer thing that I showed before in the OpenAI version? Well, they came up with this one first, and then they copied that. And we're going to see the same thing happening left and right over the next year, where everything is going to have sort of the same new tools developed for each platform. And while we're... Okay, we will get some other time. I also want to mention... Not to play favorites here. Let's look at another company and what they're doing. This NotebookLM from Google. This has been amazing too. These are not my chats, by the way. I know some of you know that I like mushrooms and things. This was already here. This was not Chris. That test one was me right there. This is kind of fun. So I would, if you were interested in doing the RAG, retrieval augmented generation, the thing I showed you before with that VML bot where I had all of the different manuals and then we added it into like a knowledge base thing, I would actually use this one first because it's much easier to get started and set up, and it works a little bit different, but like you can't as easily or at least I haven't seen it. Haven't used it this way lately. It's a lot easier to share things, like share your end result, your chatbot, over in the OpenAI ecosystem. But this one, you can just upload a file, or we could upload a website, like say, maybe our library website. And we'll paste it in there. Yeah, only visible text. Paid article is not supported. Why is that? Well, because it can't click through to do the subscribe button and those things, but there's other tools that do that. Okay, so it came up with a summary of this thing, and this is what's been very popular in social media lately, is this podcast thing where you can customize it to talk about, and it'll take a second to do, but it's going to come back with like a 5-minute audio conversation with two chatbots talking to each other. A very convincing podcast, by the way. But you can ask it questions, or we could add more pages here. I've only given it one page though, so I don't think it's gonna do that well. This is a very self-serving question to ask it, but oh yes, I did find some things. Yay! And where? Okay, it's just kind of. This is the text version of our site, so it took out all of the images, all of the everything extra, and it's just got those things there. See, but what's interesting though is that it's giving you a direct link over to that. Like, here's where I found it. So again, we're eliminating that problem with hallucinations. Well, this is not the best example. Let me go back to their list of other ones. How do I go to just the home page? I mean, it's geared a little more towards research and things, so you can have notes that you can save, or you can share those notes. Very good at summarizing things. Related ideas. Anyway, I just think this is a fun one to play with, and it's free. You just need a Google account. Again, you're contributing data to their whole setup. Yeah, these are fun. I've seen people do. Here's another fun experiment for you. If you're willing to add your personal details to the hive mind here, you can point your LinkedIn profile to this, and then have it do like a podcast about you, and it's hilarious. I highly recommend it. Or you could find other people who've done this too online. This is more popular like 2 or 3 weeks ago when that podcast feature was getting talked about. Well, okay, so we are. I'm keeping track of time. We are getting towards the end of our 2-hour excursion into AI things. Closing out our tabs here. I did share this one. Maybe what we could do have a few other. Well, I haven't been over here in a long time, just searching for other GPTs that people have made. And sometimes it's fun to just see what, again, working with my own knowledge area here. What have people made in the library world? Prompt library, rack testing. The Library of Babel, a personal assistant library will help you, and that one has a lot of users. An expert in library science, what? Okay, we gotta. Okay, we're gonna grill this thing with some heavy duty library science questions. Okay, tell me about Paul. This is a person that only. Okay, well, okay, decent, yeah. I'm convinced that only library people have ever heard of UGC or anything like that. It's like the lesser known. It's like in like the third or fourth option in that list of like classification systems. It's not as well known. But I really like mentioning this one because Utley had this whole Mundanium idea, and then that was kind of like it's kind of like it's like the steampunk internet in a way, where if you can imagine, instead of me being in a digital camera and I'm transported to wherever you are watching this, it was more like a system of tubes where it's like, oh, we're going to use telescopes and light projections over long distances so you can see objects within the library or archive as they were. So, yeah, imagine like, okay, instead of us reading ebooks, they were thinking about like, oh, we'll just have a really big space with all these different cameras in there, and there'll be a person who just like flips the pages for you, and that's how you're going to read this rare text that you can't see anywhere else. It's sort of a fun. It is fun to think that like there are obviously some misconceptions that we have right now about AI that in 100 years will also be hilarious to those people. So yeah, I just okay. What's another good one? Maybe I can trick it into. What are your? This is another growing field in AI, which is people going into these chatbots and figuring out how to like reverse engineer how they were programmed. So this one actually does a fairly, I mean, there are folks who try to obscure this also so that it's harder to get their chatbot sort of ripped off in a way, but this one, so we can estimate that these are probably part of those custom instructions that was given before. Here's a good one. If the query is vague or ambiguous, I will seek clarification. Let's test that one out. Okay. Let's give it an intentionally vague question like we would get at the reference desk here. Would be a good one. I'm looking for a book. I just want to see if it will. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Can you give me some more details, like the title or the description, or maybe like anything other than just a book? Because we got a lot of those here. Okay. And now I have to try to think of a book that it will try to prompt that out of me. So, okay. I think it was a sci-fi and there was some sand or something. No, okay, that was too easy. It was Dune. Of course I was thinking Dune. But you can see how that like, okay, in earlier versions of a chatbot like this, it would have been like, oh, you are looking for a book. Books are bound pages that have a title and a description in them, or like something like that. Maybe we can, okay, you can go back in time and see some of these. Like, let's try this legacy model. How does it reply to that? I'm looking for a book. Well, it did this one. I think if we went back to like 3.5 or one of those earlier ones, it might be a little bit less helpful in that way. Let's see what is in store for us next. I do need to log off in a couple minutes, so close that out. We're gonna go back here. Let's go back to our website. Oh, those were an interesting side quest here. And what was this? Oh, that's actually our video. The Storybox thing. Okay, I just want to see, what do we have that's new? New in our collection. I'm not so sure that this is going to have a subject thing. Oh, okay. On order. 2024. What else do we got? Let's search by, let's find some more on order things. Well, actually, there's a different way to do this. You know, I don't know if I can do it from this one. Let me show you. Okay, if you go over here to advanced search and you say on order, keyword anywhere, see what we got. This is how you get in the front of the hold line, by the way. I'm teaching the secrets of the catalog right now, but you might want to find the latest and greatest this way. Ooh, a very nice cover image here. What is that? Oh, but this is a children's book, J006. And that's it. I think because I should not be just saying like ChatGPT. Let's go back here. And we want order, on order, keyword anywhere, large. Uh-oh. Okay, here's another way you can approach this, because I already know. Go intelligence. Was a great read. Did you mean this? Yes, that's what I meant. Sorry, I can't spell today. I go there, and let's find some subject headings. Maybe this one? That one? How about all of them? Boom, boom, boom. Okay, and let's go back to publication date. Well, this one just says that. Okay, we're getting closer here. Social aspects. 15 on 2 copies. I like doing publication date because that's how you see things that are. I forgot the AI mirror. Yep, O'Reilly's got a ton of them. O'Reilly, by the way, is kind of like Hoopla. You get instant access. There's no wait lines. You just need your library card to log in. Code. Oh, this is funny. Co-intelligence and code dependent. Living in the shadow of AI. Yeah, I do feel there is a I mean, there's a growing problem with these things, right? Where we can potentially lose some of our ability to think on our own if we're always relying on. This is just like the middle school problem of being like, if you use a calculator to do your math homework, you're not going to really learn. Same thing with, like, don't use ChatGPT to do your homework. That's not going to, you're wasting your time and the chatbot's time, because that's not what it wants to do. What else have we got here? Feeding the machine, feeder tents. A lot of O'Reilly stuff, which is not surprising. Oh, we got one book in Chinese here. Mastering the AI. 71 results. What is this about? It sounds... Writing AI prompts for dummies. AI magazine. Oh, I think I might have just found my next read. Oh, from the founder of Khan Academy, the first book written for general audiences on the AI revolution in education. Its implications for parenting, how to be the best harness, how we can best harness its power for good. I think that's true. A lot of what's been written about AI in education is kind of for the teachers to read. This might be a little more approachable for others. No reviews yet. People, don't forget to write reviews when you return the book. Like, give it a star, and this actually gets highlighted down here. When you add a comment, like, someone might read it because the things you said about it. Ooh, let me give... Okay, this just reminded me of Feeding Machine. There's another... I gotta give a counter argument to all these positivity things about AI, which is called Blood in the Machine. This is a book about the... So, I read this too. Origins and the rebellions against big tech. It kind of starts off talking about like the Luddite uprisings and all that stuff, and then goes into present day. But Brian also has a newsletter, just like Ethan and the other book I was talking about, so you can stay up to date on those things. What else we got here? I know. Oh, you know what? If you want some kind of like general info too, over here on the AI page, we do have some book lists also. So let's see, where are we at with time right now? I think I'm gonna log off a little early because I started early, but we have been 2 hours a deep dive into AI today. I look forward to talking to everyone next week. We're gonna be doing this every Monday in December, except for December. Well, there's one Monday that's canceled in the calendar because I'm out that week, but yeah. Stop by next time, ask your questions. You can also use our eHelp chat, or sorry, not our eHelp chat, our eHelp. And let me show you the quickest way to go here. If you want to write to us this way, you can use this form. But then my contact info is also in the event description too. So if you want to reach out to me directly, I'm happy to answer your questions. Please give me your most difficult AI questions possible. And we will be back next year. That's me. I'm Chris Markman. That's my email. I'm happy to talk at length about these things. So I hope you enjoyed the chat, and we will see you next time.